Okay, so this is the 13th video for the Jagdpanther tank destroyer, and we're just going to continue with some detailing. Got some items here to that you'll need to sort of get ready. I've got some slightly larger gem stickers than we used before. I guess they're about probably 3.5 to 4 millimeters, while the other ones are about 2.5 at the bottom. You can use the little ones, but the larger ones sort of represent the size of the actual item that we're trying to reproduce a little bit better. I've also got some just wadding from inside 12-ring caps, and you just take a pen and really carefully. Sometimes it comes out quite easy. Sometimes it can be a struggle to get out of there, but you really want to make sure that you don't set off the cap or use safety glasses, because they can explode in your face, and it's really unpleasant and surprising more than anything else. I've also got 3 2.5 millimeter Google eyes. We're not using them intact. We're just going to use the base of them as a round object, because cutting a round object that small is virtually impossible. And some drywall fiber tape. It's the same stuff that you use on the track, but it's stuck together in a slightly different format than when you do a track. So when you do a track, you set all of the lines offset. So where before you had 1 square, you get 4. When you're doing this one, you want to only offset, hopefully you can see this, only offset the thin lines and let the thick lines all go on top of each other. That way each square you had before is now 2 squares rather than 4. And we will use this, a strip of that, for some of the detailing on the rear. These intake things, I guess. So anyways, we'll just get started here. So like I said, you want to take a, I could use a new one anyways. Take a scraper blade and some sandpaper, and just strip off the plastic part from the Google eye, the 2.5 millimeter Google eye, and try to get as much as you can of it. Like sometimes there'll be a little bit of the clear plastic still attached. That's okay. You can just generally remove that down to pretty flat when you use the sandpaper on it. And the other way to kind of hide the fact that you haven't quite removed all of that clear plastic part, which is quite often the case, is to just put the clear plastic part down when you glue it, and it will add a little bit to the size of the Google eye backing, which is not a bad thing, and you won't be able to see it. But I do recommend sanding both sides of these just to help them glue down and to hold paint. And you need 3 for each vehicle, so that gets us through this vehicle anyways. And keep them separate from these cap gun waddings, because they are quite similar in size, but these cap gun waddings are very thin, and we're using them for something completely different. So, those bits of Google eye, one goes there, and the other 2 go on the top of this hatch. Okay, now the paper wadding, make sure you flatten it nicely against the table. And also, it generally, one side is sort of a little bit convex. Put that, concave rather, put that side down, and on the very center of these fans here. So it's a little bit of a spoon sort of shape, and you want that spoony shape down. And just press them into place with the back of your brush or a skewer or round toothpick. Get them nicely positioned, make sure they're in the center. Alright. Now the gem stickers, you're going to need 2 of them. And like I said, you can use the other size if you want, but if you can get slightly larger ones, they're excellent for this. They go on these 2 circles on the back. Even though you have removed them from the adhesive, sometimes they are still pretty sticky. Now before the next step, I really recommend you take a layer of 2-to-1, like watery glue, and give all of these plastic bits just a bit of a covering, just so anything that you're gluing down on top of them, these ones too, will stay there. Because we are going to be adding some parts to those soon. Okay, and finally, let's deal with these strips of drywall fiber tape. So we want to make one strip that's got 4 long, and or 4 wide, I guess, and 3 long. And you need 2 of those. And then you need some that are 3 high and 3 long as well. You need 2 of those. And it may not exactly match the pattern, but try to get something that's fairly close. I mean, the size of the squares and stuff like that might be different on your piece of drywall tape than they are generally, or on the ones that I've got. So be prepared for them not to match this exactly. Just glue these down. And when you paint these, when you paint the model, I recommend hitting the negative space that's created by these things with black paint to look like it goes deep down into the vehicle. While you're painting everything white, paint those black. And that will sort of add to the effect. Now, because they're pressed right up against this back, if one is forced towards you more, try to make the other one match it. Like you see, this one's a little bit further this way, so I'm going to need to push this one a little bit out from the superstructure to match it. That's a bit far. There we go. And when you're selecting your areas to cut out, like because the drywall fiber tape isn't always exactly square, Try to be careful about the sections you actually select so that you end up getting a fairly nice looking piece. May have to waste a little bit of the drywall fiber tape for that, but it is worth it. And it's pretty cheap when you're using it in these quantities. Alright, so that looks like we're ready for the next step now. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.